Fathom this, then relinquish the rest. Interesting. This might be allowed. Give me a second. There we go. Alrighty. Fathom this, then relinquish the rest. I need to go back through all the past streams and like jot down all the things you've said, and then we'll have to have some kind of a special stream, like a free chat stream, where we all start trying to guess at what you're going at, what deep lore you're revealing, Okusen. Because you said all of these, all of the pre-stream statements are all part of like some they all go together to form some deep lore. Yeah, I know, but I gotta like just gotta go back through and see all the ones that you've put down. That'll be a project. Just gotta. It's like I just have to remember to do it. Okay. Hello, Naberu. Good to see you. So, Okusen, are you on break at work? Okay. Oh no, Okusen, not the sickness. What's that song? Are you down with the sickness? I laugh at my own jokes. Yes, you are down with the sickness. Ah, yes. Do you know what you have? Like, do you have the COVID? Do you have the plague, Okusen? Hello, everybody. Yeah, I hope so too, Nabiru. I really hope it's just a holiday cold. I laughed at your meme you posted, Nabiru. You were the one who posted that meme with the thing peeking through the wall, right? The Christmas thingy. I didn't have it last week when I was sick. I didn't get tested this time, but it just seems like a cold. Oh, goodness gravy. Oh dear. You know, so like on the topic of like health stuff, um, you ever you ever see someone post something and you're just like, you have absolutely no idea how any of the things work? Yes, Padoru memes are gonna be upon us, yes. Like, so I saw um I saw this person who was like they were a health professional. I think they worked for like the CDC or something, and they were posting about on Twitter um something about how um wearing masks and social distancing not only helped with COVID, but it also dropped down the number of flu cases drastically uh, over the course of the pandemic, right? I was like, yeah, we're really seeing in real time how much of a difference it makes wearing a mask, especially if you think you're sick. And someone's like, well, other countries have been doing that for ages. Why did Padoru, yes. Oh, is this sleepy Okusen? Is this sleep deprived Okusen? And so somebody commented on it and they were like, well, other countries have been wearing masks when they had colds for years. Why did you not recommend it here in America? And they're like, well, due to droplet theory, which I think is that like the drops will, as long as you don't get the droplets inhaled or whatever, somebody won't get sick or something like that. Like due to this theory, and it was perceived that, and we were doing an honor system, trusting that if people were sick, they would stay home. It was believed that masks weren't needed. And everybody was just roasting this person, being like, excuse me, what? Do you think Oh, Okusen. The automod catch that? But like people were saying in like for jobs give so few sick days that it's like for people who are like relying on that work income, and also jobs don't normally. So if you see it on chat and if you see it on screen but it's not in chat, that means the auto mod caught it. Which that's impressive. But yeah, let's stop talking about that. That's just depressing. And I don't want to get like banned or whatever, but yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Okusen. Like they were saying that their nationwide strategy for the US for minimizing the risk of the cold, minimizing the risk of flu and other viral symptoms being passed over flu season, was just trusting the honor system that if you felt sick, you would stay home. And that if everyone did that, and made sure to wash their hands regularly, that it would minimize the sickness. But then seeing that people weren't, like, seeing how much of a difference masks made, that proves that that's not how that works. And they're like, oh wow, and everybody else is like, you didn't need a massive like real life study in order to determine that. Anyway, I'm gonna change the subject before I get riled up and start and completely change topics. Then watch, I'll get banned for talking about talking about things. Yeah. Yeah. So, how was everybody's weekend? Not I know Okusen played in the Lancer game with that I ran yesterday, so I know a little bit of what happened with Okusen this weekend. But Nabaru, how was your weekend? And any lurkers, anybody else, how was your weekend? Tiring but fun. What did you get up to, Nabaru? Oh, just your usual games with friends? That's cool. So, like, an interesting thing happened during the Lancer game this past Sunday. And oh, you thought up a new idea for a cringe video? What is it, Nabaru? And so I had this interesting experience in which one of the player characters did something that absolutely devastated one of the NPCs. And so for me, I was like, I had to think about how I was going to roleplay this and how I was going to react here. So I had to put myself in that mindset of being absolutely heartbroken and betrayed. Oh, it's a secret? It's for next month? Ooh, that's exciting, Nabaru. And that was just an interesting place to put myself in, to like mentally get myself in that place of someone who'd been like heartbroken and betrayed. I need to learn how to use emojis. We might have a stream where I'm just learning how to use emojis. I don't even know what that would look like or how that would function, but I think we just need to have a stream of just learning emojis. I keep seeing people using them, especially for as much as I'm on Twitter. The fact that I'm not using emojis, I'm typing stuff out manually. Makes me feel even more like a boomer than I already do. Oku-sen, no, don't ban me. Oku-sen, no. Oh, goodness gravy. So I did something exciting today. Well, today was actually really rough because like my roommate was home from work today and like he was trying, like, one of his cousins had given him an Xbox 360 and I think somebody else had loaned him this like little container full of games. And so he had all these Xbox 360 games, so he was just going to sit down and play it. He claims he was only playing for 15 minutes, but I was taking a nap while he was playing, so I'm willing to say it was at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. But it still wasn't that long. And he was gaming. And then he got a red ring of death. And the thing is, since the games were only on loan to him, he couldn't just leave the disc in there. And we couldn't figure out how to get the disc out. So he ended up having to completely disassemble the Xbox 360 in order to get the disc out. And like, I'm sitting there trying to troubleshoot, trying to figure out what to do, what steps to take. And his first default like response was to start taking it apart. And by the time I looked up what the next step to do was, he'd already started taking it apart. So the stuff wasn't lining up properly. So I couldn't get we couldn't activate the emergency release of the disk tray. So there's two versions of the Red Ring of Death that I learned about when I was doing this. I never dealt with the Red Ring of Death when I had because I played my friend's Xbox stuff. So there's one where it's 3 bars, so it's not the full ring, and then there's another one where it's 4 bars. If you get 4 bars, that means it's a general hardware failure and everything is bricked, right? If you get 3 bars, that means it's a power system failure, which means you either need a new power cord or something is wrong with where the power cord connects to the system. So it is fixable. Well, not for his anymore because he tore it apart. And I wasn't about to sit there and explain that, hey, maybe if you get it to a repair shop, you might be able to get it fixed. But like, it was still frustrating for him because he finally had a thing to do. Like, everybody else has things to do, right? And like, since he's not currently making his way through any shows right now, he was just like always looking for stuff to do. And he finally had something to do and he was having fun. And like, it was nerve-wracking for me because he, like, how do I put this? Like, he was very frustrated and angry, right? And he had, like, it's not like he did anything wrong. He didn't do anything to get himself into that situation. But that doesn't change the fact that he was very frustrated and emotional. Well, not just negative emotions. And for me, as someone with anxiety and PTSD and a variety of other things, being around someone who's angry can be terrifying for me. Whenever I see someone within that mode where they're just really frustrated, they're fed up, and they're just absolutely pissed, my first instinct is to hide. But like, I couldn't hide because he needed my help. So that was stressful. But he did eventually get the disc out. The disc might have got a little bit scratched, but it wasn't in perfect condition to begin with, and it wasn't that bad at all, considering all the work he had to do to take it apart. But yeah, it's a thing. It's part of why I can't do customer service, because dealing with emotional people is kind of a mandatory thing in customer service. So yeah, that happened today. And then a VTuber agency opened their applications today, Kawa Entertainment. And like, I've used Kawa resources for making my schedules before. And I've watched as Kawa is invested in the community, coming up with new tools and resources to put at people's disposal to make streaming more functional. So I definitely am a fan of them. And I was so when they tweeted yesterday and they're like, "Hey, who's excited for auditions opening tomorrow?" I tweeted about it. I was like, "Hey, it's weird because the last time they were taking auditions, I was still streaming Mutants and Mastermind stuff. Um, and like I was really at a part where I was struggling with what I wanted the channel to be. I hadn't developed my lore, and I just had these general ideas. And now I feel like I'm so much more defined, that I have so many more things fleshed out, and I'm working on so many things that I just feel like I've matured so much. I don't even know how long it's been since they did that, but um, it's it's been a while, and I feel like I've grown a lot since then. And I replied to the tweet. I was like, yeah, it's weird how much I've grown, how much I've changed since then. But like, I'm in the middle of developing my VTuber lore into a novel, and I don't want to throw that away. And one of the current talents for Kawa commented, and it was like, or replied. I always want to say commented, but that's Facebook. Facebook's his comment, and Twitter is replied. I always get those confused because I grew up on Facebook. And they replied and said, "Hey, just so you know, and to clear it up, Kawa is an adoption agency, an adoption style VTuber agency, uh, where instead of creating new talents, they look for talents that are already existing and come alongside them to help them." And that person said that they were still the same VTuber persona they'd been for over a year before they joined Kawa. And I was like, well, at that point, I have nothing to lose, right? Like, I have nothing to lose from applying. So I put the application in today, and I was looking for the application, and I was Googling, and I hadn't seen it on their website. So I'm Googling, looking for the application, like just seeing if I could find it or any references to it, or some announcement about when it will come up, when it will be up. And Google gives me a direct link to the application, and my first thought was, I was like, is this the actual application? I haven't seen any announcements about it. And I started filling it out, of course, because of course you're gonna fill it out. But part of me was wondering, is this an archive? Because sometimes you get like archived web pages where it's like some stuff out the Wayback Machine. I'm like, is this an archive of the previous application? It was probably the same page, but like my anxiety riddled brain was just like, blah, 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 blah. So I did that application, and it was really funny because it asked for a video introducing yourself, and I was like, hey, I just did a new intro video. I just put out that new intro video recently, and I was like, that should work perfectly for this. So I just gave a link to that instead of creating a whole new video, because I felt like that kind of represented a lot of what I do. Now, I don't know. The dialogue in that was kind of wooden, as opposed to how relaxed it normally is whenever I'm streaming. But, though, it's funny. You ever have one of those things where like you have a conversation or like an argument or something, and then like an hour later when you're in the shower, you think, oh, I could have said this comeback that would have been perfect. I could have said this thing that would have fit perfectly in that response, right? You ever deal with that, chat? Well, for me, it wasn't. It was after I was brushing my teeth, I started thinking about all the things I could have put in the application. Yeah, Nabaru. It is a normal thing. But then I started thinking about all the things I could have put in the application. Yes, or you think you put your foot in your mouth. That is also a response, Nabiru. So my brain is just like thinking of things that I could have said, but I was already so verbose. I already used so many words to answer every question. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if they're ever gonna read my application because I wrote so much. I didn't give any short or concise answers. All my answers were like really long. All the questions because I wanted them to understand what I'm doing. Um, and it was little things like it said, "What are your favorite games?" I didn't even put Minecraft. Minecraft is one of my favorite games. I haven't played it in a long time, but like Minecraft was my life for a while. Um, so I didn't list Minecraft was one of my favorite games. And that's a really common like party game and play with others game. So that could be really important to say, hey, I know a lot about Minecraft. Because I do, and I know a lot about modded Minecraft. I ran a modded Minecraft server for a while. So like the fact that I didn't even think to put Minecraft on my favorite games list, I didn't even give them a list. Oh my gosh, I was just writing full sentences. It is so cringe. But what's done is done, and I just kind of got to let it go for now. I was also spending some time today working on one of my assignments for Sapphire's character development course because I've been trying to get back on the groove with that, and we're learning about mood boards right now. So I had to create some mood boards. I won't go into the details because I don't want to detract or spoil or anything for the course because it's a paid course. So I don't want to go into all the specifics of what I was doing in the course, but it was really cool working on mood boards, and I'd submitted. So one of the things you get with being in the course is you get access to this exclusive Discord where you can interact with other people who are also going through the course or who have already gone through the course, where they can all act as like mentors to each other and helping each other. And so there's a thing where you could post your assignment and get other people to review it before you turned in the assignment officially. So I did that. Now we don't like get a grade or anything, but it's just kind of like a finality thing to get responses and to say, yes, this is my assignment done. Um, and I turned it in yesterday, and somebody was like giving me some critiques about it. And I think I took the critiques pretty well. I think they brought up some really important issues. I tried to fix some of them, but I was just like, I don't know if I have the mental and emotional energy to like redo to go back into collecting picture mode. 'Cause that's one of the most like intense things about mood boards is you have to constantly be collecting pictures and then trying to figure out how to fit all of those pictures. Um and so yeah, that's a thing. As someone who deals with like the written medium, as someone who deals with words and writing, dealing with things on like a visual level like that can be kind of frustrating for me. That was my day. Going from one stress to another stress to another stress. But I had to decide what I wanted to do tonight. I could have done an RPG Maker stream because I last week was a writing stream, but it is National Novel Writer Month. And I do want to at the end of the month have something to show for it. Even if it's not a completed manuscript, I want to blow a chunk out of it. So I'm like, I really want to get some writing done. And I just said, you know what? I'm trying to follow my passion. I've been really motivated to do this, to do this story about my lore, and I'm just really fleshing stuff out. Oh, it's funny. I was at a Sapphire stream, and um, you know, she was asking what people were working on. I told her how I'd been working on, you know, turning my lore into a novel. And she was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I was trying to explain, and it's like whenever you're in someone's chat, especially a chat where there's a lot of stuff happening and a lot of things going on at once, um, it can be hard to like get complex ideas out. So I was trying to express this and about like I uh how I'm trying to form this lore into a novel, and Sapphire is just like, oh, okay, like, and I was explaining about being a giant robot pilot and about like how it's like I'm turning my, well, I didn't really, I don't think I really conveyed the giant robot pilot, but I was explaining the like the streaming thing, and the thing that like it does end with my character becoming a streamer. And so she's like, is there like a magical girl transformation? And I was like, uh not yet. I guess I can put one in just for you. She's like, yeah, magical girl transformations. So that's one of the things I have a project tonight. To find some way to introduce into this. Well, it's more fantasy than sci-fi because it deals with like super robots. But to introduce into this story some kind of a magical girl transformation for the character putting on the undersuit, I'm thinking. What do you think, Nabiru? All right. Okay. Yes, it definitely sounds amusing. All right. So let's get rolling. It's around 9 p.m., so this is when we normally get into the writing. So before we also, actually, let me hide that. We don't have that word counter for this. I wish we had that much work done on this. Um, I wanted to share this because I found this really great 27 chapter plotting structure that I used when I was planning out this story. And it really helped a lot with planning out the plot twists, the direction, and it might be kind of lazy, but I am using each one as a chapter. Like the idea is that like you could, depending on the length of your story, combine some of them where you cover multiple points in one chapter, or you could spread one point into multiple chapters. But I'm just going to try and use this for each chapter. And that really gives me something to focus on. Whereas with like Halcyon Avenging, I'm like, kind of, what do I do this chapter? What am I doing? And it's just this kind of flying by the seat of my pants every chapter, trying to vaguely represent what's going on in this stage of the hero's journey. So yeah, that's really fun. I left on the Discord in the writers corner. I think one of my latest posts was a link to this outline structure. The person who explained it to me, though they weren't the person who developed it. I don't know who did develop that 27-point outline structure. Kato Keefe. 3-act 9 block 27 chapter method. This was made popular by Kat O'Keefe. Keefe, I don't know. Okay. Oh no. I was just checking Twitter real quick to make sure I didn't. Oh my gosh. Twitter is so funny. Like, Twitter, everything is on fire, but that's just part of the charm. It's honestly just part of the charm of it all. He's just watching everything burn. All right, so we just started this chapter. We're on chapter 4. Okay, it is more on fire than usual because I think someone described it really well. Where like Twitter is at that stage of like a quirky's 90s movie where the rich billionaire has purchased the plot of land the kids play on. So now all the kids are playing pranks and harassing the rich billionaire in order to make his life unbearable. And I'd say that's a pretty accurate description of what's happening on Twitter right now. Like there are so many people that are just on this quest to ensure that Musk's investment just fails. And it is hilarious. But I also kind of wonder, like, so this is also some of my ignorance from not dealing with a lot of other social media things and just being old, right? But like a social media website, especially a free social media website, survives on advertiser revenue, right? And I've seen some people suggesting going to Tumblr, so I did make a Tumblr. I'll probably link that at some point. And And I haven't really posted anything except for an intro thing on Tumblr. Uh if Tumblr is supposedly this like place where advertising goes to waste its money because all the people of Tumblr are so immune to being swayed by advertisements, right? They talk about how you can't really make money on Tumblr because you're not going to be able to really sell anything. Then that just makes me wonder, how is Tumblr still running? Like who's paying for Tumblr if advertisers can't advertise there? It takes my little capitalism wired brain and like tweaks it, the thought of an entire website where advertising doesn't work, and I'm just like, then how does it run? Anyway, let's get back to it. So this is chapter 4, which is the beginning of block 2. So block 2 is whenever a problem disrupts the hero's life, and in this case the problem is that the fate of the world is being entrusted to 18-year-olds, to a group of 18-year-olds operating with no supervision. Yeah, there are advertisements, right? There are advertisements, but like, someone, I've seen posts talking about how like you don't get, like, there is no like ad share or anything, like, and Tumblr is just very opposed to having celebrities on their website selling stuff. And I'm like, well, it's interesting. So like there's probably the official advertisements that are like add things through Tumblr, but like they're saying if you're a business, you're not going to be able to sell, like, to sell your stuff on Tumblr because people don't buy stuff. When I was on Tumblr, I didn't see really any ads. Like I think I saw like a couple things on the side, but like there were not any kind of ads or promoted things in my feed. My feed's mostly empty because I haven't followed anyone yet. But it was just so different because I'm so used to always seeing promoted posts here on Twitter. Anyway, so this idea of the problem disrupting the hero's life is kind of not a fake out, but it's a bit of a redirect. So you would think, right? Hey Silva, that reminds me, I need to make a lurk command. Yes, some are getting smarter to bypass pop-up blockers. Yes, a lurking Silva has spotted. I'm gonna make an iLurk command that just says person's name is lurking in the background. They are valid, they are welcome, and they are loved. But I thank you for your lurk, Silva. I thank you for coming. So, in this story, you would think the army of evil giant robots attacking Earth would be the problem that disrupts the hero's life. But with how I'm structuring this, at the time whenever at the time when the story starts in the introduction, when you get introduced to the regular everyday world, the world is already under siege from these evil giant robots. That's the normal thing. The problem becomes when Orian, the character, finds out that the fate of the world is being left upon a group of unsupervised 18-year-olds. And So that is the driving problem here, as an adult seeing this. And so Orion has now traveled all the way to Star Hunter Galactic Command in order to tell these people that they need to get more responsible, more capable people to be doing the fighting in order to defend the Earth, and not be relying on a group of ill-trained, ill-prepared 18-year-olds that are just flailing about helplessly and currently losing. Because then there's the other side of like, while it's true uh being that age, being 18, brings with it a lot of like like you're usually in the physical prime around that time. But with training, adults can reach that and get beyond that. Like I'm probably in better shape now than I was when I was 18. Um, and for these giant robots that are driven by um the giant robots are driven by your drive to accomplish your goals, your motivation, and your passion. And while it is true that being young and not knowing the horrors of the world can bring with it um, a unique power, a unique type of motivation of someone who's never failed, there's also an even stronger amount of motivation of someone who has failed but pushes through anyway. Um, and so that's what Orion's come all this way to tell them. And in the net and but that whole speech where he gives them the what for about that is next chapter. This chapter is him walking around the compound, um seeing what's happening around the compound. But he's arrived at the compound in the middle of the night because of time dilation, so there's not a whole lot to see, but he's still getting in to take in the beauty and the facility and stuff. I might have him meet one of the students or something that's training at the facility. Uh and and then just really want to impress upon him this awe and wonder of this unique place that he's been transported to really represent this new world that he's just peeking into this new world. He doesn't really enter the new world until after he completes his training, when he returns back to Earth and sees Earth with new eyes now that he's become trained to be a star hunter. But not not quite there. So doing that, let's see. And then we're also doing this foreshadowing right here, where when Orion goes through the scanner at the security scanner at the front desk, the security scanner recognizes him, and they're like, "Have you been here before?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Well, our system shouldn't recognize you, but it's not saying that your ID is attached to any active ID right now. But the system shouldn't pick you up if you're not connected to an active ID." This is setting up the plot twist in a few chapters, where when Orion is feeling lost and despondent, like he just can't keep up with these young and highly passionate kids, um, that one of the people is going to show him, "Hey, we figured out why the system recognized you, and it's because your name was at the top of our reserve list. Even despite your age, you had something about you that um, made our system notice you, and we and you can do this," as kind of an encouragement moment. But so I want to set that up here, and also like set that up with, well, how did he pilot the giant robot? Because yes, it's a common anime trope that the main character falls into the giant robot and can pilot it perfectly on the first try. But a real giant robot would have some kind of security measure, and so that's this explanation that why he could do it was because his name was on the reserve list. He was on the reserve list of pilots they would contact if the current pilots were defeated or failed in a major way. So he was already in the system. So it says something about privacy that they put him in the system without asking him. So yeah. Also, I had I'm kind of just having fun with this story. I'm trying to have a lot of fun with it. And there's this also camaraderie forming where, like, since Orion is based on me, so he is black, and he's being led around by Jonah, the only black star hunter on, before this, the only black star hunter on Earth, and they had this camaraderie moment where Jonah's like, it's nice to just see somebody who looks like me, so I'm not dealing with that weight of being the only black person fighting these aliens, the only black human fighting these aliens. And not having anyone to talk to about it, because it can be kind of hard to talk to family if you feel like family's not going to understand if you're dealing with some weird stuff. That transcends all kinds of borders. So right now, Jonah is trying to build this camaraderie between himself and Orion to try to encourage Orion to become a pilot. And he's trying to do that by showing him how wonderful this facility is. But they don't know how, but are injected with the skills, but must gain knowledge. Ooh, that's interesting. What anime is that, Nabiru? Oh, what is it, Nabiru? With that face, that face, that face tells me it's gonna be something kooky. Yes, I remember. That's how the main character of Symphogear started. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Are you talking about, like, it's Imagine a mecha show with the same concept of how Symphogear started? What are you describing, a specific show, or are you describing a hypothetical show, Nabaru? Because there are a lot of mech animes that have that same concept. Oh, a hypothetical? Okay. Well, even in this story, okay, a hypothetical. In this story, the main character didn't know exactly how to pilot it. Somebody else had to adjust the settings and put it in the simplest operating form possible, switching it into manual mode. And even then, he needed someone in order to activate the weapon, because he wouldn't have been able to do anything without the weapon. Yes, they always seem to learn to pilot within a few episodes. I want there to be a believable reason in my story where the piloting process literally involves just moving. You move, the mech moves, something like that. Um, See, I don't know if I'm supposed to capitalize this. I'm going to. Oh no, Okusen. Your watch time limit paused. I didn't know that could happen with a stream. Like, I've listened to streams for like 8 hours, like 5 to 8 hours, and never had it pause before. That's so weird. Maybe it's just because I'm a small channel. 30 minutes. 30 minutes ago. Okay, so you've missed all the last 30 minutes. So today we're working on the project, the lore project, where I'm turning my lore into a novel. And one of the key things about this is, like, so in a story you always have this inciting incident that is what drives the character to start moving and is what's driving the beginning of the story, right? And what I had to realize when I was coming up with this was the inciting incident is not the giant robots question mark was an accident. Okay, Okusen. But the inciting incident that inspires the character to start moving and to go down this path is not that the aliens are attacking, that the dark machines are assaulting Earth, because that's introduced as part of the general world. When you at the start of the story, the world is already under siege, and that's just part of the ordinary world. There's a world under siege. Oh no, Nabiru. Oh no. But the inciting incident is when Orion finds out that all of the Star Hunters are 18-year-old kids that are operating with no supervision and limited training. And so now it's coming to his reaction to that, which is where he's kind of essentially asked to speak to the manager, where he's here to talk to their general, their supreme general or whatever, and say, hey, I don't know how you do it for other species, but for Earth, some humans would be much more viable to be pilots that are older and more experienced. And right now these kids are losing, and somebody's gonna, like, people have died when they have had to retreat. So you need to have the best people possible. But he's not having that speech yet. Right now, he's just exploring the facility and learning about the facility that they train at, which is Star Hunter Galactic Command. And he's finding out that the kids do get kind of paid. They get star credits, but nowhere on Earth takes star credits. But I put yes, Nabiru, yes. I put in this story, I put Fox Coffee in this story. Fakes Coffee. Always pronunciations are hard. I put Fakes Coffee in here, the same coffee shop from Halcyon Avenging, and it is essentially operating under the same premise where they sell regular coffee, but they also sell the poop coffee. And they're an ally of the Star Hunters, but they're a secret ally. So instead of like the Power Rangers going to Ernie's Juice Bar, they go to Fakes Coffee. And then so now they're being introduced this kind of scheme where Fakes Coffee is working out a plan for once the larger matter transporter gets installed, they will buy the kids star credits in order to give them a cash equivalent, and then they will take those star credits and then trade them back to the Star Hunter Galactic Command in exchange for supplies to make new exotic coffees. Which I think is kind of an interesting way to introduce how they're getting their money. But I don't want that to derail the plot too much. Trying to keep it quick. Oh, of course. Glad I had that page open so that way I could quickly tab over and swap that out. Alrighty. Yeah, of course it's the bots. It's always the bots. Which is funny, I'm writing a story about giant robots and then bots show up in my stream. Of course, writing about bots, talking about ads, we did jinx it, Nabiru. We really did. Okay. I think I'm gonna not outright say that the coffee is that it's a place that sells poop coffee. I'm just gonna hint at it and let the name speak for itself. It'll be like an inside joke that the reader can can look up, because they look up fakes. It means poop. It means refuse. It means trash. And then Orion's like, you know what they do to that coffee, right? How do you spell plethora? Oh, it was an O, not a U. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Mm. Oh. What are those called? Hold on. I don't want to be using a term that just doesn't actually work. Porque... Uh... Yeah, so they're just called food booths. Food stalls or service counters, that's what it's called. Service counters. I just looked it up on Wikipedia. They're called service counters. Okay. Let me just Google this to make sure. Display staffed by a sales associate requires a customer to receive assistance in order to purchase a product. Yes, it's a service counter. Okay. All right. Sorry, that was going to bug me if I didn't solve that. Okay. Service counter. Got it. Service counter. Okay. What do I want to call the food? Space burger. One space burger, one space shake here at Space Arby's. Gosh. It can work anywhere. Yes, Nabiru. Go to Space Arby's. We'll go to Space Arby's next. I had a thought. So follow me on this. Everybody wears universal translator, so everybody hears everybody else in their native language, which means the character wouldn't call it anything special. So he's just going to call it spicy protein chunks over boiled grains. And they'll understand what he means. Yes, converts all. Yes. But like, so the whole thing with everyone wearing translators would just work for an organization that's made up of people from all across the universe. It would just be a lot. It would just be a lot simpler to utilize. Um, and it also means I don't have to make up fancy words or an alien language. But there'll be like this weird caveat about it, right? Where the translator requires them to speak in the simplest words possible. So if they try to use like fancy words like superlative um, and stuff, the translator might get lost. So the people are going to end up saying very a lot. That's one way to do it, Nabiru. That is definitely one way to do it. I'm making a note of this in my notes. I'm not going to call it space. I'm going to call it Starburger. Come on, can I spell? Nope, I cannot. Three E's and independently. Okay. It always throws me for a loop that OK is spelled OK, AY. So I just want to put OK. It's actually kind of funny. When I was younger, I had this toxic thing that I did where I'd bother people about not spelling it out fully. Well, like in most applications, like on social media, yeah, that's just being goofy. But like for this, where I'm actually writing something, that's actually important. But you don't do anything like that now, do you, Okusen? You outgrew that. You're not a toxic person anymore at all. I know I say that like I'm being sarcastic, but like I know that you're a memer and that you will chase down crazy ideas for stuff all the time, but that's not a toxic trait. So I could say like I'm sorry if it seemed like I was implying that you were toxic in any way because you're not. All right, I derailed myself a little bit there. English, I think, is still the hardest language, as even a native English speaker can mess up just as bad as, yeah. It's funny, in the application I filled out today for Kawa Entertainment, they were like, how would you, like, what kind of people are in your audience? And I was thinking of you, Okusen, whenever I said some of them are memers. Because I remember, like, seeing the goofy fan art you made using my old model and the giant robot picture, where, like, it was like all of the different arms and, like, using the name uh from my logo. And, like, I remember Tim was telling me how, like, you used to spend hours on making random memes chasing down obscure ideas. I don't mean it as an insult. Oh no. Alienate your audience, speed run any percent. Mhm. Okay, I'm glad, Okusen. How many words am I up to tonight so far? Because we've been just writing this trip to the food court, and we have written 868 words, and we're still even mid-sentence. How many words is this chapter? Because I don't want the I don't want it to drag too long. I was hoping to fit in more stuff, seeing more of the facility, but just describing the food court took up so much time. So many words. Okay. I'll probably have this chapter end once they finish eating. Because I want to keep, so one thing I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to keep my chapters in this relatively short to maintain a snappy pace where things don't drag on and they just keep going. Normally for a chapter you want between 1,500 and 4,000 words. Some even go down to about 1,000, and I'm doing, I can math here. Oh, someone appeared in Discord. I grabbed my phone to use my calculator and I saw all these notifications. I just wanted the calculator. Okay, hold on 1 second. You remember a time when the calculator was a separate basic object? There was no app for it. Yeah, and there still are, like, calculators still exist on their own as separate things. Okay. And all right. So I generally want about 2,000 words per chapter. Now I'm gonna have to pump up the words on the previous chapters because the previous chapters were not 2,000 words. Like, this one, these ones are a little bit on the short side. Like this one, chapter 3. Chapter 3 was this 2,000? Oh no, chapter 3 made it over. Chapter 3 was 2,600. Okay. 2,629. Okay. But yeah, so I'm trying to shoot for 2,000 word chapters just to keep this snappy and to keep everything moving. Because I don't want to dwell too long on any one spot. Some of them might be longer, and that might lead to some of it feeling weird pacing wise. So some of the chapters in the middle I might go longer just to let those like flesh out a little bit. But we'll see, because I saw someone post one time about how whenever you're scripting and you're plotting how many words you're going to be using for each act for the general 3-act structure of a story, you generally want to use more words for Act 2 than you did for Act 1 or Act 3, because that's where a bulk of the plot takes place. And that if you were using the exact same word count for Act 1 as you do same amount word count for Act 2 as you do Acts 1 and 3, then that means either Act 2 is going to be way too short or Act 1 and 3 are going to be way too long. So it's going to be kind of playing loosey-goosey with it a little bit. But like I said, we'll see where it goes from there. Okay. Why did I think there was an apostrophe there? The thank doesn't own anything. Ah, yes. Okay. All right. So, okay. I think I've told this story, but it's definitely worth telling again. Gotta have a weeb moment here, Nabaru. There was one point during the G era, I was playing at a locals. I think we were like just playing as like everybody else had left, and I think that the tournament was over, and we were just playing for fun. And like I can't remember what it was. I think I had like a stressful day, and I just wanted to let it rip, right? And I played Dimensional Robos, and I strode into Die Earth. And I just like I told my opponent, like, listen, can I just go all in on this right now? I just need to go all in on this right now. And he was like, sure. So I screamed the flavor text on Die Earth as a ride chant, and then I just yelled Die Earth's name and like stood up and yeah. I never got Die King. I think Die King, I missed Die King. But yeah, so I just yelled Die Earth's name, and it was a glorious moment. Mm-hmm. Why can I not spell protein? Yes, they do. Yes, they do, Nabiru. So here I'm making a joke because so since I'm vegan, obviously the character Orion is going to be vegan. Um, and it's kind of this foreshadowing thing where he's saying, as a vegan, I can see myself getting used to this kind of food. At this point, you don't know it, but later on in the story, he's going to end up spending an extended period of time living at Galactic Command. So I wanted to like foreshadow that with this. All right, Nabaru, look at you, staying diligent and on task. Hmm. What did I call him? I gave him... Did I give him a name? Grand General. I don't like that sentence. What up if I could spell speak? Hmm. I think I'm going to put this part here. I'm going to end on the cliffhanger. But I'm going to put this part in the next chapter. So now we get to chapter 5. I'm not bothering to name the chapters because I'm not bothering to name the chapters because I'm just going to come up with the names later. And also it means I don't have to mess with the word count. It's much easier to keep track of. Oh, you found it? What'd you find? Okay. Hmm. So I want this person to be like this big, wide, overbearing person. Just, his descriptor is tall, broad shoulders, purple skin. Noble soul reborn from the black, dark matter of the abyss, tremble with the pleasure of destruction, cross ride, turn dimensional Dayusha's light into darkness. Yes, that's reverse Dayusha. Ah, yes. Do you remember? Okay. So, in one of the magazines that used to advertise uh Vanguard in Japan, they used to release little blurbs that was like lore blurbs for the cards in the first few generations. It stopped around the G era. I don't know if it ever started back up, but they would announce a card and there would be blurbs of it, and then those like blurbs of lore would get translated and put up on the wiki. So on some of the wiki things you can click on lore and it has that lore article with the story behind the character. Do you remember that, Nabiru? Yeah, it has been a while. I did put that in here that they've had to retreat, right? Okay. Yes, part of Europe was leveled that day when they had to retreat. Okay, so here is where Orion's making his play. Let me check my notes here. Mm, Okay. I'm kind of liking how the speech is forming up, which is really nice. So, at first, Omni thinks that Orion is here to, because when Orion's like, I understand that you intentionally recruit your Star Hunters at the youngest possible age to be considered an adult. He says it's in order to maximize their effective career. And then at first, Omni's like, don't tell me you think I should recruit them younger, because with this idea of starting with child soldiers in order to recruit them and improve their performance drastically. But then Orion's like, no, the exact opposite. I don't know how you do things with other species, but humans improve drastically with time and training. I believe that if you took pilots from older and more experienced people on Earth, you would have a much more effective fighting force. They have had to retreat against the onslaught of the Stygian army, and lives have been lost. You cannot allow these young adults to operate unsupervised with this kind of hardware, not with these kind of stakes. And then Omni responds with, our machines require mental focus and a drive and a passion to achieve their goal that is unmatched. Youth has never known failure, and as such is the most filled with that passion and motivation. Then Orion shoots back with, only until they suffer their first loss. After they suffer their first loss, that passion crushes itself under its own weight. What you need is the passion of someone who has known failure and still is, and is still. That should be is still, not still is. And is still willing to get back up and keep trying. You need the drive of someone disciplined enough to keep going, even if they don't know how they will succeed. Someone who's creative enough to find unique ways to achieve victory and who has the experience to know what to do next. So that's his big speech, right? How many words has this been? This might end up, I don't know how short of a chapter this is going to be. Okay. All right, it's only been like 430. Okay. Mm. Okay. Hmm. Writing's gone pretty well, Goldfish. We're doing the thing where I'm trying to turn my VTuber lore into a novel. Um, and we were talking a little bit about how um I'm using for this the 27 chapter structure. Have you heard of the 27 chapter outline structure, Goldfish? Yeah, so I use that for designing this. And right now we're on chapter 5. And because I'm doing 27 chapters, I'm trying to keep the chapters short. I'm trying to keep the chapters at around 2K words each. I might go over that for some of the chapters in the middle if I need more space, but I'm trying to like keep the chapters short and quick and so that way it just keeps snapping through to maintain the pace because I feel like in Halcyon Avenging, my chapters are getting are plodding along and I'm not getting very much stuff done for the amount of words I'm spending on stuff. So um I'm just trying to maintain a better pace with this story. So in this there's an interesting thing where so Earth is under attack by these dark machines, right? The Stygian army. Yes, keeping it punchy is a balancing act. And we're at the whatchamacallit block. We're on block 2. We're working our way through block 2 of Act 1, and um it's about the problem disrupting the hero's life. And one of the things I mentioned that's like one of the driving forces for this chapter and for this section of the story is the problem, the inciting incident of this story is not the dark machines attacking Earth. That is something that's introduced as part of the norm, as part of the regular the normal world that's introduced in the first chapter is that the world is under siege, right? The thing that is the inciting incident that drives the hero to action in this story is Orion finding out that the Star Hunters, the people tasked with defending and protecting the planet and saving the planet, are a bunch of 18-year-old kids with limited training and no supervision. So that is what's driving his action right now. Where now this is something that he sees needs to be corrected. They need to have better pilots. They need to have more experienced pilots that are more capable of executing more intelligent goals in order to keep, in order to have some kind of an endpoint, some kind of a goal uh, for success. And that's one of the driving things in the story right now is where like Orion has been taken to their Star Hunter Galactic Command and is here talking to their Grand General, the ultimate leader, and is saying, "Listen, I don't know how you do this with other species, but you can't do this with humans. You need more experienced pilots to be taking on something this big." Yes. Hmm. Yeah, this kid's got the stuff, except what happens when the kid starts losing? Mm. But yeah, we've gotten a lot done. Like, for the first part, ending chapter 4. Oh, ending chapter 4, we got 928 words done, and then in chapter 4, I think we're at like 5 or 600. No, we're chapter 5. Yeah, we're coming up on 600 words, and I'm mid sentence. Yeah, you've been getting a lot of writing done. So since it is National Novel Writer Month, I do want to have something to show for it at the end of the month. I want to have at least a partially finished transcript of this, and as well as hopefully a finished transcript of Halcyon Avenging. Um, so I'm putting a lot more time and effort into writing. So I'm probably not going to do as much writing because I want to go see a movie tomorrow. So I'll probably be busy with that. Um, but yeah, it's been pretty productive so far, Goldfish. What about you, Goldfish? How has your Monday been? How are you starting off the week? Have you been making any steps towards your goals, Goldfish? Oh, about 500 words. That's great, Goldfish. I'm so happy for you. Was this on the character backstory you were working on before? From other pieces, I don't mention the short story, but not the really short character backstory thing. Okay. I think you did mention that you had another short story you were working on, because you were taking a break from your fantasy novel, right, Goldfish? That was you. You were the one who was working on the fantasy novel, right? Yeah, okay. Actually, I think you answered that back here. Okay. Let me go back through this. Okay. I'm just reviewing something I wrote because I don't want to create a plot hole with something. Because I don't want to have the character ask about something that was already addressed earlier in the story. Yes, okay, it was stated that it was controlled by dark forces. Okay. 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 So in this one, in this part, Orion's asking this question about like what is your plan? What is your actual end game here? And um the Star Hunters are expressed the Star Hunters general what do I call him? Grand General uh is saying that constantly uh the Fulgur Fury is trying to negotiate with the Stygian Fury, and essentially they're in this holding pattern, trying to hold the line until a peace is brokered. And that's confirming Orion's fears that these kids are being used in a hopeless battle. So the idea by the end of the novel, Orion comes with this decision and accepts that this is the new normal, and makes this ultimate sacrifice to take out to take out all the Dark Generals, believing that once the Dark Generals are taken out, that the Star Hunters will be able to have things under control. Because it starts with, because it's this idea that like the fight against evil is never ending. There will always there will always be something that has to be resisted, something that has to be fought against. And in the beginning, Orion's like, you need some kind of end game goal. You need to have some kind of a thing that you're working towards in order to uh resolve this and end this war. But it's not always that simple. Like, there's not always a thing that you can do to end a conflict or misunderstanding or to stop someone who is doing bad things. There's not always a guaranteed way to resolve and make sure that bad things don't keep happening. And by the end, Orion accepts that it's okay, because every step that he's taking is making, like, it's weird. So that's one of the places where I'm unsure about the ending. If I want him to just be accepting that the fight's going to keep going on, and just trying to do the best he can with what he's got, or if I want him to end with believing that once he removes the generals, that they'll be able to defeat they'll in the big grand battle, that the Star Hunters will be able to succeed, and that'll force the Stygian army to retreat. It's an interesting conundrum to be in, and you definitely want to keep the end in mind with something like this in order to properly foreshadow it. I'm redoing this entire sentence because I don't like it. I don't like it. Yes. Yes. That's a good way to put it, Goldfish. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of writing done tonight. We finished chapter 4. We're partway through chapter 5. How far are we into chapter 5? We're about halfway through chapter 5. So then the back half of chapter 5 is going to be them saying, well, if you think that we need to start recruiting older, more experienced pilots, then why don't you be the first older, more experienced pilot? And if you do well, then we'll consider recruiting other older, more experienced pilots. And that kind of becomes his resolution. And the next chapter is going to be like their orientation and then him dealing with trying to keep up. I'm making a note of that. Gotta have the orientation scene. Okay. I might rework this part, but this is still the first draft. I want to get through the first draft before I start making major edits, but I'm kind of happy with where this is right now. Because this does set up the final battle as maybe an ending, but not because the final battle is one massive climactic battle. And Orion doesn't stay for the entire battle because he sacrifices himself to take out the generals partway through. And then he has to trust that the Star Hunters will win the battle, and then hope that that battle will finally be the big climactic battle that's big enough that the Stygian Fury finally decides to accept peace. Finally takes enough losses that they accept peace. Yeah, we're almost at 10K on this story, which is nice. I have to punch up the first few chapters. Like once I'm done with this first draft, I'm gonna have to go back and definitely punch up the first few chapters because they are short. I started writing before I did the 27 the 27 chapter structure. So I broke the things up into the proper chapters and then just kept going. Oh. Okay. So the only chapter that needs to get bumped up is the first chapter. The first chapter is kind of a prologue, but I can flesh that out further. All right. Right. But I do like plotting out stories. All right. Let's start winding down for the night. It's getting pretty late. So tell me, Goldfish, are you a plotter or a pantser? As in, do you plot out your stories or do you just go by the seat of your pants? Big time plotter? Oh, okay. It's funny. I thought I didn't know that going by the seat of your pants was a thing. I thought everyone did plotting in some way, shape, or form. It was just revolutionary to me to learn that there are people who are pantsers that are just very successful. Like when I was in school, we always learned about making outlines. That was always the thing we learned about, we were taught. But then finding out that once you get like to being an adult and like the professional writers are like, yeah, some people are just pantsers, some people just and it's not saying one is and the fact that there's this widely accepted notion that no one is better than the other, they both are equally viable. Yeah, it really is down to the individual. Let me take a look at how many words we've got done so far tonight. I might do more writing later, but I do wanna end stream so I can get myself some food. Okay, so there is one word in there. That's the 5. Okay. Oh, we got 1,841 words written. Not bad. We got 1,841 words written. That's pretty good. I want to maintain a nice, consistent pace of doing 1,000 to 2,000 words on this every day for at least the month of November. Yeah, that's real good. I wanna like I know normally my writing challenge is to do 200 words, but um for this month only, I'm pushing myself far beyond, and I want to see what my max is. not my max. I guess I want to see what I can do if I really put my nose to the grindstone. Like I've spent these last 2 months building up this writing habit. So I want to see what it looks like whenever I take those skills, those habits that I've been building up over the last 2 months, and then push it to its limit. Might end up taking a month off of writing after doing this. I don't know. Or I might find that I just really like maintaining this pace. I don't always get the 1,000, but I'm making sure to get at least my 200 words in every day. So, tell me, for this coming week, what are your goals? What are your goals or things you want to accomplish for this coming week? Goldfish, Nabiru, anyone lurking or in chat? As we're winding down. Shooting for a couple hundred words a day? Okay. That's great. That's exciting. Okay. Well, Nabaru, can you break that down into any short-term goals? Like, that's your one big goal that you're working on for next month, but is there any small steps that you can take? Or any smaller goals? Because I find it really helps me if I manage to break a big goal into smaller goals. Okay. All right, Nabiru. Well, you know your process better than anyone else. It's not like this is your first time doing these big projects. You've been doing this for a while. So I trust that you're going to do something really outstanding, Nabiru. Ooh, oh, you're doing your quizzes and this time about D&D. That sounds exciting, Nabiru. Oh, my head's waving around because I leaned too far back in my chair. I think for me, my goal for this week, I want to see that new movie Wakanda Forever. A few weeks since I'm an anime addict. It has okay, all right, Nabiru, that sounds fun. So I don't know if that like it's a thing I want to do, which I say it's a goal because it's going to involve lots of steps because I don't have a car. So I'm either going to have to arrange a ride. I'm either going to have to arrange a ride or I'm going to have to use Lyft and Uber, and that's going to cost money. And so then there's all of that stuff. And then I have to go grocery shopping this week. Um, so that's another thing that I have to do. Um, so those are things I have to do, but what are things that I want to do? Well, I want to. I don't know. Oh, jeez. AVG, now is not the time. I think my goal is like I said, to crank out those big numbers. I want to put up those big numbers of words, but also I want to not just crank out numbers in this. At some point this week, I want to get big numbers in Halcyon Avenging, at least a little bit, at least something to get me back to keep that story alive in me. I don't want to completely lose touch with that story. Also, I think at some point this week I want to work on my game, because I haven't done that in about a week. So I guess I want to do all the things, but those are things that I'm working on. Those are things that I'm working on for yeah, there's only so much headspace. I'm probably gonna have to pick one. I'm probably gonna have to pick one thing to do, and then if I do the others, that's great. So I think for now, I'm saying it now. I'm gonna put the goal of putting up the big numbers for this story, this lore novel. Um, and then if I do that, if I do accomplish that, and then I I do everything else. Well, if I do anything else, that'll be a bonus, but that's going to be the bare minimum I'm trying for this week. I think it's important for us to share our goals and encourage each other, because I think that's going to be very crucial and important to us for success. Anyway, let's wind down for the night. Sounds like you all have some stuff that you're working on. I'm really happy that you're feeling motivated to do writing, Goldfish. I know sometimes that can be a challenge to feel that motivation. All right, so let's end on these words of affirmation. Maybe one of these days I'll look up like a random thing of like words of affirmation to say for people, so that way I'm not always saying the same thing. Uh, no, these are a lot of the same things I'm doing. 2 week stint where I just couldn't get much done, but that's great. I'm glad you're getting back into the swing of things, Goldfish. And also, I'm glad you came by. I'm always happy to see you at stream. I'm happy to see everyone streaming. Anyway, let's wind these down. I want to say to Goldfish, to Nabiru, to Okusen, to Silva, to anyone who lurks or anyone who watches this VOD, I want to say to all of you that I love all of you, and I believe in each and every one of you. I think that you all are wonderful, outstanding, and special. Each one of you brings a unique energy that is all your own to everything you do, and you make this world better just by being in it. Every day, I am grateful to live in a world with you in it. If you really liked what you saw here today, then be sure to like the stream. It helps the algorithm with sharing it to other people. Share it with your friends if you think any of them might enjoy the chill streams, or invite your friends to the next stream. And if you ever have an idea of something that you would want to see me do, be sure to comment it. I'll read the comment. I may not always do it, but I will read the comment. Ding the notification bell to be kept up to date with whenever I go live or when I put up new content. And be sure to subscribe. Doing all of this out of order. If you want to keep up to date with whatever I'm doing outside of stream, there's a link to my Discord as well as a link to my Twitter in the description. I'm fairly active on both of those. I'm more active on Twitter though. Also, remember, you're never required to donate or to pay to be a part of this community, but if you ever feel motivated to donate to improve the stream or improve my life, there are links where you can do that in the description below as well. Always remember the Star Hunter motto and try to apply it in as many things as you can. Shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. Have a good night, everybody.